Okay, my assignment D is I'm going to answer the questions that were pretty obvious to what I needed for the assignment. If I had 200 employees and I was the owner of a manufacturing business in Morrisville, and I have my own servers, and my employees have their own company email addresses. Most employees have access to computer at their desk or common areas with their own individual logon. So, the question is, can I or will I monitor websites from my employees? Yes, there is a limit from the ECPA, the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. There is a limitation, but I will be able to monitor through supervisors and stuff like that, because they don't need to be going on any other websites that's not work related, and it is not appropriate and professional. And if they are going on Facebook or whatever, I would rather them, that's shirking. So basically, I'd rather them not shirk and be distracted and actually work. Do I monitor their emails? Yes, I will monitor their work-given emails because it is work-based and only needs to be business-based. And but I won't do their personal emails. That's them. But if it's for the business, I don't need to know that you're setting up an appointment for some issue you have. Okay. Do I have internet filters on my servers? That I will I would take that offer because I wouldn't want them going on any other websites, not only because it can cause shirking, but it can also cause viruses. So I can opt out some of the websites that could cause some viruses, and if we get viruses in our computers, it slows down our work process, and they need to be focusing on work anyway. Will I do a drug test on my employees even if I found 1/3 of the keyboards 100% illegal drug residue on my computers? Yes, because in my policy I will include, to make sure that I include in my policy that there is a no illegal drug substance acceptance, because it can affect performance and it can cause them to be late. So, I mean, that would be something to think about putting in your policy to make sure that you have that for the legal issues of giving drug tests on random times. It could affect, it's important to make sure that you do have that in your policy, because it could cause violence if they're taking some serious drug, illegal drug, and that is a workplace violence, and it's very alarming, and you don't want that in your business. So it can affect your coworkers, your customers, and even that employee himself. So it's very to be careful in a business. To contain healthcare costs, drug users are not only more likely to injure themselves in the job, but they also 4 times more likely the medical expenses of the average employee. Some state workers' compensation laws deny coverage if the injury resulted from the use of illegal drugs or alcohol. So basically it's very important, because also if they're taking drugs and they take like a medical leave or whatever from your job, it basically is, you're taking risks. Basically, if you have a illegal drug user as a worker, employee, you're taking risks of money costs. You can end up paying them on leave, and it's basically because drugs, not just some random accident. It could basically be more costly if you don't do a drug test. That's later on in the other questions, but it could also cause, if you do drug tests, to cause other employees to fess up because they know that it's going to be tested anyway. That helps. But basically, having the drug policy, having the no drug policy in your policy, if they actually read it, it could also be important for them to read it and know, oh, well, I do drugs. Maybe I need to just find another workplace to apply at, because they might do some random drug testing. And I guess, some businesses might not have that in a policy for them, but that'd be good for them. But it is very important to do a drug test, even if it's for 200 people. I believe it's important for all of them to be tested and not be picking one by one out, because that could be a discrimination. If you pick all the other colored employees just because they're colored, they're going to be like, just because I'm colored, you thought I did drugs. Or if they have this different discrimination thing, you would just think they did drugs and you would be pinpointing them out. But it's basically a thing to say, hey, it's in my policy. I told you that this is an important issue in my workplace, and I had just found something out that could be a danger to my workplace, no matter how small, and I need to fix it. Well, would I test some or all? I said I would test all, because instead of pinpointing them out and discriminating them by one, might as well show all an example. If you're guilty, you're guilty. If you're not, you're not. And show an example to all people that this is everybody's thing. I'm not just doing this for one person, that this is serious to everyone to follow. It just sets a better example. And I know it seems like a waste of money, but it would be more costly if you don't. And it ends up being a big workplace violence violation. And it could be, it is very important because it could affect OSHA. OSHA could be saying that is a danger to your company, and it is a danger to your company. So I think it is very important to make sure that you have no illegal drug use in your company. Would I worry about the cost? Yes, I would. But if I had the money, I would do all of them. Because it is just important. One person can just ruin everything. It's the whole company. It no matter how small it is, it's part of the company. But my policy will stand. If it says no drug use, I will need to prove that I will do random drug tests and that it's not just going to be avoided. And when you do, like I said, when you do a random drug test, it could cause some of them to fess up, as a question is fixing to come up. But I have that policy for a reason, so you need to check all your policies and make sure that they are being supervised and all of that. If I find that one of my employees fail a test, I would fire them if I would fire them if it is actually proven to be an illegal drug that they are using. But I would also look into the point, if they are saying it's a prescribed drug from the doctor, then I would need the evidence. If I don't have the evidence, that does not help their case at all, and it would go into my policy of, hey, my policy is no illegal drugs, and you have no proof whatsoever that it's a prescribed drug, so I'm sorry, I don't need you in this. And plus, it would bother me even more that I found out by giving the test. If, like, they didn't tell me, so it made me even more mad. It's just a thing. But, a fun fact, more than 3.5 times more likely to be involved in a workplace accident, and 5 times more likely to file a workers' compensation claim. Which would, you need to watch out for the reason why you want to, when they are positive for the drug, you want to make sure that you see the options of prescribed drugs and what other types of things that they may be using, because they can use the Disability Discrimination Act, and like ADA, it could be a disability. They could have a disability and be taking prescribed drugs, and that is important to check into before you automatically fire them. And like I said, you want to do all of them, because if you are discriminating one by one of certain ones that you think might be doing drugs, they could do a discrimination act against singling them out and basically discriminating them by race or disability. Even if it's in my policy, it should be allowed to do a drug test, by the way. But there is some, like, laws that can cause a conflict in between whatever we do. We have a limit, but apparently they can be a violation of privacy that they can say by, if you give them a test, like a urine test or whatever, it's a violation of privacy. But termination is good for the zero tolerance of drug-free policy. This is just, most likely, if it's a policy, then terminate them, and that's just the way it could be. But if I have an employee who fesses up before the drug test, I would want to fire them. It depends on how the person acts. I would want to fire them, but if they come to me and say that they are actually trying to do better and they're wanting to go to rehab, and I would basically set a thing up to where, okay, if you're going to really fix this, I would give them a chance only because they fessed up before I found out doing a drug test. Even though I would actually still do a drug test to make sure. I don't know why someone would say I'm doing drugs and they're not, but it would be better than if they didn't say, they just wanted to say that to get fired, and I fire them, and I find out later that they lied and they just wanted to sue me for firing them for that, and I didn't test them, that could go against me. So test them anyway, because they could be a lawsuit waiting to happen. But still, because they told me before then, I would give them a chance to go to, give them a thing to show proof that that's part of the EAP, the Employee Assistance Program. It could basically give them help, but make sure that they are giving proof along the way as they are still working, and probably have some supervisors looking over them to make sure that they don't fall off the guidelines that you and them had discussed about. What should my urination analysis affect? If there was the urination is a problem because it can detect even the people who aren't using illegal drugs. That goes with prescribed drugs, and they could be false positive tests and stuff like that, but you would basically that's the problem of a urinary test. So it could give you false positive, but you got to get an explanation in there. You got to do your digging. You got to get your data and find out more about the situation too, for the ones who get some positive. It could be a urinary infection or something like that, which is very important, but you would have to get them tested for other things too, which would be very costly. But there's better tests out there than just urinary tests. So there's hair sampling and stuff like that. But do I have a dress code? I think it would be important to have a dress code of being appropriate for one. I would say just wear anything you want as long as it's appropriate, but I might give them all like the same dressing. So no matter who comes to work with a poor outfit or someone comes in with a Hollister outfit, they are known to pick on and probably cause a more bullying environment. And if I give them all the same work uniform, it'll be less bullying environment, which I think is very important. And probably like tan pants and shorts and skirts that are at a limit for a dress code for the cold and hot days, and probably a blue shirt maybe, but all the same. And do I allow religion and politics to be discussed at work? I would say no. I know I can't catch it all, but supervisors can admit, hey, they were discussing about some things. But really, the point of discussing certain things is, yes, everybody has an opinion, and we should respect each other's opinion. And if something happens like that and they do not get caught, try to be more respectful, but try not to talk about it at all, because it can cause arguments and be another violation to your company. So there are laws and policies for reasons. If I have a gender-neutral employee who wants to use the other gender bathroom, I personally would make sure, because of this gender-neutral thing going on, I would make sure that there is a women's bathroom, a men's bathroom, and a family bathroom, basically. So if you are a gender-neutral, it'll be most likely you are made to go to there is some laws about discriminating them, but in there, if I have a both gendered bathroom, they can go in there without any complications, and be respectful to the other workers, who women are women, they go to the women's, men are men, they go to the men. But if you are in between, no one can be discriminated or be called out on if they just go into a neutral gendered bathroom. So there could be 3 bathrooms to go to make sure that everybody gets an open area, an open space of who they are. Just to be sure and make sure that the law is not put on me, because I could be part of discrimination, and that's a big thing going on. But that's about it. So thank you.